Imagine having conversations with some of the greatest servant leaders of our time. You will be doing exactly that on this episode of Nonprofits Radio. Today's conversation made possible in part by our friends at Global Podcast Studios, making podcasting easy and affordable. Visit globalpodcaststudios.com. And by our friends at Podcasters Directory, the world's largest directory of and about podcasters. Visit podcastersdirectory.com. Now, let's join our host and guest. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta and worldwide across the Pro Business Channel syndicated networks for a conversation with today's nonprofit leaders.
All right, Rich Casanova here for another exciting episode, and today we're spotlighting the Taste of the NFL, Party with a Purpose, which is held on the eve of the Super Bowl for its 29th year. It'll be held on Saturday, February 1st, 2020 at the Diplomat Beach Resort in Hollywood, Florida. The NFL-sanctioned Party with a Purpose is a star-studded fundraising event bringing together exceptional cuisine, prominent chefs from around the country, NFL players, coaches, legends, and more, all to support the fight against hunger. This year includes over 40 chefs from around the country participating. The team of guest host for 2020 includes the legendary Coach Don Shula from my hometown of Miami, Florida. I don't know if he realizes I was born there. That's another topic. But he's serving as the National Honorary Chair, along with Chef Andrew Zimmern is the National Culinary Host. Chef Andrew Richman is the Florida Culinary Host, and Ben Leber as the National Player Host. We're excited and honored to have joining us today on this episode the actual founder of the Taste of the NFL, Wayne Kostroski. Wayne, welcome back to the show. From last year, a lot has happened, I imagine.
Well, yeah, a lot has been going on, but it's really nice to talk with you again, Rich, because we had a lot of fun down in Atlanta. And certainly I was in the studio there, and we had some good times there. So good to be back on with you.
I concur. It was so awesome having you and learning about what you guys have been doing for 29 years and just the impact you're making in local communities, giving back to local community food banks. So obviously we're going to emphasis today on the Kick Hunger Challenge. But before we do that, which is a really interesting element or piece to this, give back. But let's talk about, again, the Taste of the NFL since 1992 has rallied the country's top chefs and NFL greatest players to raise money in support of food banks throughout the U.S. So the backstory for people not familiar with this, how did this kind of come about?
Well, I live just north of you up in Minnesota, and, where the temperature's a little different.
Yeah.
Actually, the high today is 5 degrees.
Oh, my gosh.
Enjoy your weather down there.
Yeah.
I remember last year, Rich, the week of Super Bowl, Atlanta was experiencing, and I have to put this in quotes, cold. And for me, I was walking around in T-shirts going, what's the big deal here?
Yeah, exactly.
But back when the late 80s, when the NFL decided that Minnesota could host a Super Bowl, that was going to be hosted in 1992. I was on the host committee, and we had to be a little more creative. So,
right.
In convincing people to, leave the confines of their southern cities where other Super Bowls generally have been, and then
right.
Come on up and and we literally did give people a scarf when they arrived at the airport. It was
right.
part of the ambassador program.
And instead of a lei in Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah, and it covered your neck, but the rest of you froze. But
yeah.
It was a gesture. We tried. But in events and such, we wanted to create events because I don't think many people will convert on one trip to ice fishing and ice skating and down, cross-country skiing through the woods when it's 10 degrees, et
right.
cetera. I don't even do that. I've lived up there all my life. I
right.
don't know what's wrong with those people, but, they like it. So I was in the restaurant business with a bunch of restaurants up here, and I had experienced, sending our chefs to other hunger events around the country. Wolfgang Puck and Alan Susser and different people around the country. And so the idea was, well, these chefs are already interested in hunger relief. They
right.
do participate in events. How about if we do something special here? And it was really kind of that simple. We said, let's do this, one-time event
right, yeah.
up here in Minnesota. It will be called a Party with a Purpose, and it's the Taste of the NFL. And so I called then at that time, Rich, there were 28 teams. So I made 28
wow.
calls. The chefs I knew. Your hometown is Miami, so I called
right.
Alan Susser. And Pano and his team there in Atlanta, I called out to them. And we got a chef from every city representing a great restaurant. And then there were only two guys that I knew in professional football, and they were both alumni, and they were with the Vikings, and introduced myself to them and said, would you call players? Because of, Wayne Kostroski's calling player, they're going to go, who is
Who?
that?
Yeah, right.
As opposed to a fellow player. And it worked out. And so our offer was very, very lucrative. Come up to the frozen tundra for a few days. You're not going to get compensated. We'll cover your airfare and the lodging. Your parka and stocking caps are on your own.
Right, bring your own.
And the chefs, you prepare all the food, and we'll do one night. But what made 28 calls for players and 28 calls to chefs say yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Because we said 100% of the net proceeds will go to food banks in each of the NFL cities. So
at that time, yeah.
It started.
It was divided.
Then, yep, and he split it up, and it's grown quite a bit. And we, literally, it was the premier event of the Minnesota Super Bowl in 1992. And like I said, it was meant to be, let's do this one great thing, and it'll be a legacy in Minnesota.
Right.
And a couple months after that, I started getting calls from players and chefs and said, "So where's the event going to be in Los Angeles?"
Right.
That's where the next Super Bowl was. And I said, "Well, I don't know. I hadn't figured on it."
Yeah.
Everybody was so excited about participating and launching it that we did it again in Los Angeles. And then the third year of the event, it took place in Atlanta. And that was at the, it's over at
the old Dome or whatever. Well, the venue is different, but last year it was at the Galleria. But
yeah, it was because it's a different hotel. Now it's a Westin. I think it's Buckhead Plaza or something.
Right.
And so we held it there, and we kept going. And so now...
So what does your attendance look like has kind of grown over the years? Because, right out of the gate to get, all, at that time, like you said, 29 teams, 29 cities and chefs to say yes, you had to know, you're onto something, right? That's not a given.
Surprise. I've been even up to that point, I've been involved with hunger relief. Being in the restaurant business,
right.
Food was important to me, and I knew families weren't getting proper
struggling
food and access, and so it was an issue for me anyway. So it was easy for me to reach out, but I really didn't think, Rich, that it was going to be as huge a success as it has been, and the winners are families in need. So it was a pretty cool thing.
And talk to us about that in a second. Give us some of the stats on hunger in America and the challenge. But before we do that, again, we're speaking with the founder of the Taste of the NFL. As you're listening, just surf on over to tasteofthenfl.com. Again, that's tasteofthenfl.com to check out more of what we're talking about. So Wayne, talk to us about some of those numbers that Americans are struggling with in terms of food inadequacy.
Well, the numbers vary state to state, but all of them are ugly.
Right.
In Minnesota alone, 1 in every 11 people are at risk of hunger, and 1 in 6 are kids under 6. Atlanta's numbers, I'm trying to recall from last year, working with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, which, by the way, is an outstanding organization. We serve 32 food banks, and not all of them are as good as the next one, but Atlanta is certainly up in the top there. We had see that they work was amazing.
Yeah, we had the founder Bill Bollins in our studio a long time ago, and then he stepped down. We had the new guy, and it's just they've cracked the code and doing some things right there. But you mentioned 1 in 11, and that's not families; those are individuals. Yeah,
right. And, the face of hunger. This isn't my expression, but it's accurate. The face of hunger is different in every community, and certainly the face of hunger is changing. When I was growing up, and I'm an old guy at this point, but when I was a kid, my mom would, she'd bake bread and do things, and we'd take it down to the local church or the food bank.
Right.
And, you kind of felt, okay, you're helping out some people, and the image that I grew up with was, you could tell who was hungry a little bit more because they were also kind of associated with, homeless or on the streets or whatever. Nowadays, particularly in schools, any educator will tell you many of the kids in any classroom probably are not getting 3 meals a day. And that's why the school programs are so important, both federally and state, to provide breakfast for every kid that comes to school, et cetera. And that's slowly gaining some progress. But then you think about, when there's no school, on the weekends,
right, big time.
during the summer, they literally miss out on meals. And, and when you're hungry, I don't know about you, but when I'm hungry, it takes more than a Snickers bar to keep me
right,
being
exactly.
cranky. And I certainly am not in a position to learn. So it's a very important problem to face, and it happens everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, the ripple effect of that and the impact that makes is just, and it's something that's preventable. We're as we're one of the richest countries in the world. We have amazing resources, but there's that disconnect of getting, that pipeline to the right people and making it happen. So let's talk about the event itself, and then again, we want to definitely talk about this Kick Hunger Challenge, which is happening throughout the country. So the event again is in Miami. It's the Saturday before the Super Bowl, Saturday, February 1st, and 40. Is this a new record of 40 chefs participating?
It's not a new record, but it's one of the tops. So
okay.
The last time we had 40 chefs was when we were in New York years ago, it's a chef that represents each NFL city, which is 32, and then we add the Hall of Fame.
That's what I was wondering. How do you pick up the other guys?
Yeah, they do a local taste of the Hall of Fame, and then they have a competition, and a chef is selected from Akron, Canton area, and then they come. We have the Cake Boss. Joey and Morrow come out, and sometimes Buddy comes out, so they've got a station, which, by the way, is some of the most amazing cannolis you'd ever want to in your life. Then we've got, certainly we've had it for a number of years, but it's an extra highlight this year in Miami. We've got the undefeated Dolphins station.
Yeah.
The members of the 72 team.
The Dolphins' perfect
Coach
season.
Shula is our honorary chair for the third time. And also, so the restaurant associated with the undefeated season is Shula's.
Yeah.
That's kind of obvious.
Right.
And then we have, other restaurants in the area that competed locally with the Kick Hunger Challenge. So there's a winner of that locally in the South Florida area. And then we've also got a chef that was People's Choice at John Offerdahl's Gridiron Grill-Off in November every year. So we've added, a few restaurants. And at all those stations, including we've got one of our partners is Burlasso Salmon. They've got a station. Steakums has got a station. We have a player at just about every station.
Right. Yeah. No, I was honored to be part of the media last year. It was a very impressive event from the fan perspective, from people participating. I mean, you have top-notch music talent. You have, obviously all the food, but you can go around to these 32 different stations, experience the culinary from that city, talk first, one-on-one with that chef and their team, as well as autographs from players. I mean, it's very, not just fan-friendly. It's very, VIP type of experience, and it's not going to break the bank. So talk to us about some of the tickets or opportunities for people. I don't know if you have any sponsor opportunities still available or.
Yep. Well, I want to add one other thing to what you just said is that, we always say this event leads with food, which no other Super Bowl event does. This is a culinary, but there are, we're going to have over 16 Hall of Famers. One of the, NFL 100 winners, Randall McDaniel, is going to be coming to the event.
Wow.
Because he believes so much in the cause, and he said that there's plenty of other things that they're going to be doing that weekend with the NFL 100. But he's one of our selected players, and 4 other players, have also been part of our event. You got a lot of celebrities walking around from music and movies and television, etc. In Miami, it's going to be really cool because we're going to have over a dozen players, current and alumni Dolphins, walking around in their teal jackets.
That's crazy.
So you'll recognize them. The Hall of Famers wear their Hall of Fame jackets. So you're exactly right. You walk around and you do what you want. What are you into? And you might be standing in line to get a great salmon dish, standing next to a Hall of Famer who happens to be attending. Susie Kolber from ESPN is going to be there again, like she was last year at Cobb Galleria. She's going to be wearing a diamond necklace that people can take a chance to win through a donation, and we draw it that night. And not only do you get that necklace, but you get 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. We've got 4 different opportunities for someone to win Super Bowl tickets if you're there.
Yeah.
So, and it's got, and then you mentioned music. Last year we had Martina McBride.
Right, yeah.
It was really outstanding.
Yeah.
This year we have the same leader of the group that we had in New York, which was one of our best music presentations. His name is Derek Wright.
Okay.
He's the drummer, but also the music director for Adele.
Oh, wow.
And he's put together an all-star band of people who have played, every musician has played with people like Alicia Keys and John Legend and Tony Braxton or whatever. So this, and who knows, he's getting some people to just show up. And
right. Just a jam session maybe, yeah.
Yeah, this is, and the other parties you go to, you're going to pay more money to sit in the back of, an auditorium and watch, a Peyton Manning talk.
Right.
You'll never get up there to get a picture or an autograph. You put it perfectly. You walk around and you're going to meet these players and these chefs, and you're going to talk to them.
Yeah.
And they're there not because they're not compensated. They're there because they want to be there and they believe in the cause. So, of course, you're going to have a great conversation. They're going to embellish their greatest moment. I mean, it's amazing how much longer the return kick was. 5 years later, as they say it, but it's fun to talk to those guys.
Oh, big time!
And so it's the ticket that we have tickets still available. They're $700. That's a high end ticket in kind of generally,
right?
But at Super Bowl, it's the best value.
Oh yeah,
you get what you want. You get everything. And
I mean, the food, the drinks, and then you have silent auction opportunities, and the entertainment, and you really feel like it is a red carpet type of experience where, you're there. And again, it's not like an event where you just have to sit in an audience and, and watch through. Real quick, who are you calling going to Miami? The Titans, the Chiefs, Green Bay, or 49ers? Who do you have? What's your prediction?
Let me think of the chefs, because that's funny. I get on sports shows and they start asking me about, and anybody that's seen me, I don't even qualify for a physique to be a kicker. So I don't know squat about the inside game. All these players do. I was just with Hall of Famer Paul Krause this morning,
right?
With a local presentation we had. There are 4 great teams to be left for us, and the 4 chefs are fantastic. There's a chef representing San Francisco. There's a great place out there called the Water Bar. If anyone ever gets out to San Francisco, definitely check that place out. The Titans have a great restaurant called Etch.
Yeah, I was going to say
that is a James Beard-nominated chef.
Yeah.
Green Bay, we actually have the chef from a great restaurant in Milwaukee called Sanford.
Okay.
And here's interesting. We've got Donnie Anderson represents the Packers, and Donnie played in the first 2 Super Bowls.
Wow.
And so one of those games was against the Chiefs, so we might have a repeat.
Right. Wow.
If that happens.
Yeah.
And then these players and these chefs are so much fun. Because again, they've chosen to be there,
right?
And so they're. And here's one other thing, Rich, is that with the price of the ticket, like you said, it's all included.
Yeah. Also
know that the at the end of the day, at the end of the night, the event, the net proceeds, 100% of the net proceeds will go to food banks in each of the NFL cities. So
talk to us about a goal. Talk to us about a goal you have in mind for that, or what you've done in the past. In terms of contributions to food banks,
we end up with we kind of average about $500,000 being donated,
right?
Split up. But here in Minnesota 2 years ago, obviously because it's in our backyard, we were over $1 million.
Wow!
Partially because I called in every restaurant favor I've ever done for anybody and said, you got to buy some tickets.
Exactly.
We sold out. We were sold out by Christmas Day.
Wow. And not only that, but is it an 8-to-1 ratio as far as the dollars and the foods or whatever, right?
Well, you're exactly right. Where our food banks average is that for every $1 we donate to the food bank, they can create up to 8 meals. So hold on to this statistic for just a second. We talk about money, and we've over $20 million, but we have been able to affect the creation of over 210 million new meals. So in other words, if this event was not taking place for the last 28 years, where would those 210 or 220 million meals come from? So that's the other thing about attending this party is, I mean, and if anybody listening is, not from, they're from your area, but they've got friends and associates and business associates down in South Florida. This is something where it's the best party of the weekend, but it's called Party with a Purpose. Because it's the purpose. That's it.
I mean, you leave with a full stomach and you leave fulfilled, that you've done some good, made an impact, right? You can quote me on that. Yeah. Plus I'll be there and I'll be signing autographs too for $1.50. I don't know if there probably won't be a line for that, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. Where are you going to park your car in the parking lot to do that again?
Exactly.
Through the window.
Yeah, I'll do drive-through autographs, whatever. Yeah. So when we got a couple of minutes left. Talk to us about today's event and the Hunger Challenge. And how that works, because that's an online experience. You mentioned for people, being at the event in Miami, but there's also this online opportunity as well, right?
I appreciate you bringing that up because a few years back, I sometimes I get frustrated because, it's limited what we can raise in one night in a Super Bowl city with the price of everything from rooms to carpet to lights to whatever. So we started something called Kick Hunger Challenge. And if you go to, www.Kick Hunger Challenge, you're going to see all the teams listed there. The Falcons will be on that list too.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. They need to step up their game because I'm looking at it now, and you show the amount raised by those fans and those teams. And come on, Falcons, y'all need to get in the game here. Yeah, Minnesota's doing pretty decent. The Dolphins are doing good.
The deal. It's meant for anybody. So let's if you donate $10, 2 lattes, whatever.
Right.
One movie ticket. You donate $10 on that website for the Falcons.
Right.
Or if you live in Atlanta and you're from, San Francisco, you choose.
Right.
$10 will create 80 meals for the food bank served. So you put $10 on the Falcons piece.
Right.
Atlanta Community Food Bank is going to be able to create 80 meals. You get 9 other friends, and now you're up to 800 meals.
So it goes to that food bank in that hometown of that franchise.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. And Kevin Rathbun and Chris Draft represent Atlanta. And by the way, they were tremendous hosts last year.
I agree.
And so, Kevin still has a couple things that he's doing to, raise some dollars. Chris will show up anywhere for this cause. But everybody listening, you don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
You sit on your couch with your jammies and, and your cell phone, and you can, help families get fed. It's an amazing program. And it's very important to us because we can only fit so many people, into the event. And Kick Hunger Challenge gives everybody an opportunity to show the love to someone else in need, because we're all blessed. If you're sitting there eating the sandwich and you go on the website, for God's sakes, donate anything, because it'll go 100% to where it's supposed to go.
And here, just a couple of the leaders on the board here. For example, the Cardinals have raised $20,000, and again, you extrapolate that number to the meals. $46,000 from the Bengals. You've got $10,000. It looks like from the Packers. They need to step it up. And then it looks like the leader right now is the Seahawks with $60,000, over $60,000 raised. I mean,
yep.
That's
and that's why it's meant to be, quote unquote, a competition.
Yeah,
I love your language and saying, step it up. Is that yeah? I mean, and by the way, what you don't have a team, in the hunt this year for the Super Bowl, so why not help families who live in your community, just by making any donation that you're able to, and feel good about it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll push that out. I know you got to rock and roll and run, and definitely appreciate your time. I don't know if there's any final call to actions. Obviously, the website is tasteofthenfl.com, and as well as kickhungerchallenge.com. Is there?
Well, Rich, it's always good to talk to you, and let me just say that the folks listening to your show and the fact that you've taken time to slot this effort in is a big deal, because our mission is to raise awareness and dollars for hunger relief in local communities. Your show is a big deal about raising awareness, because someone listening might go, I didn't know Atlanta Community Food Bank was a good organization. I've heard of it, but maybe I should check it out. And that's what we want. This event is not going to end hunger. It's not even going to have a significant effect on the hunger issue in America, but it can have a significant effect for the hunger issue and families in need in the Atlanta area. So thank you for giving the exposure for that and giving people an opportunity to participate.
Absolutely. Our pleasure, Wayne. And you guys are doing such great work, and it's on both ends, the Kick Hunger Challenge. It's very easy to get involved in that. And, but if you're obviously a sports fan, you're going to be in South Beach. Man, that is the party to be at. I was there last year, and you got to be there to experience it. Tickets are still available. So again, Wayne, thanks for your time, and we'll see you at South Beach. And you don't have to bring your parka, or you can thaw out down there at least for a week or so. Right?
Well, believe me, it's tough duty to go from Minnesota to Florida at winter time, but I'll do it.
Well, if you want to stop in Atlanta just to kind of thaw out for a minute, before you head further south, you're welcome to join us here.
Only if it's in the 40s again. Then I'll make the stop.
I'll see what I can do, but no promises. But see you at the big game, man.
Thank you, Rich.
Absolutely.
I look forward to seeing you down there.
Same here. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
On behalf of the Pro Business Channel Networks, we want to thank you for listening to this episode of Nonprofits Radio, made possible in part by our friends at Global Podcast Studios, making podcasting easy and affordable. Visit globalpodcaststudios.com and Podcasters Directory, the world's largest directory for and about podcasters. Visit podcastersdirectory.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Share this episode and join our host and guest next time on Nonprofits Radio.